ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੰਭਾਵੀ ਤੌਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਤੰਬਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਕੂਲ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਹ ਸਪਸ਼ਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਟੀਕਾਕਰਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਵੈਕਸੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੁਕੰਮਲ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀਆਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਨਿਯਮ ਲਾਗੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਫੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ $25 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਇਸ ਪੈਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਤਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਏਅਰ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ।
We are grateful and excited that students are returning full-time in person within our schools in the province of Ontario. The return of in-person learning means that children will be able to interact directly with their friends and their teachers. Under this plan, students will return to a more normal in-person and full-time learning experience, which we know parents and experts have urged us to do. In-person learning is crucial for their mental and their physical health, their overall well-being, and the long-term academic success of our students. Acting on the best expert advice in the public health perspective, including Public Health Ontario, Sick Kids Hospital, CHEO, and Ontario's Science Advisory Table, we are taking further action to ensure that ventilation improvements will be in place in all publicly funded schools across this province. Last school year, we announced $100 million for immediate measures to improve ventilation, which includes upgrading existing systems, changing air filters more frequently, using the highest grade air filters possible within our schools. We partnered also with the federal government to fund more HVAC projects, window opening projects, and retrofits. Over $450 million is being invested for ventilation projects through the COVID-19 resilience funding stream, and we think this is going to make a difference. Improvements in air quality have been made or are being delivered across Ontario school boards, including in over 2,000 projects in over 1,670 schools and co-located childcare facilities. Today, I'm proud on behalf of our government to announce an additional $25 million investment for the purchase of approximately 20,000 additional standalone HEPA filters or HEPA units, which can improve air quality where there are challenges with ventilation within our schools. The additional funding announced today, combined with our past investment, will ensure that all occupied learning environments, including classrooms and gyms, libraries, childcare rooms, portables, and other instructional spaces without mechanical ventilation will now have a standalone HEPA filter placed within it when students return this fall.
ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਕਲਿਆਣ ਅਤੇ ਲੋਕ ਭਲਾਈ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਅਹਿਮਦ ਹੁਸੈਨ ਨੇ ਬਲੈਕ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਦੇਣ ਦਾ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਅਤੇ ਸਮਾਜਿਕ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਣਾਲੀ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ, ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਮਕਸਦ ਬਲੈਕ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਤਕਰਾ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ।
I've known you for a long time, and this is a neighborhood that I join you today that was once my home, a place that I grew up, that still remains very close to my heart. And Marcy, you've been a strong champion for this constituency, for the residents of Toronto Centre, for housing, for supporting the most vulnerable, for being there for families. And I know that you care deeply about the social as well as the real infrastructure of Toronto Centre. And the reason we're here is quite simple. It's time. It's time that we address the issues that matter to Black Canadians. Au cours des 6 dernières années, notre gouvernement a travaillé fort pour s'assurer que tous les Canadiens aient les mêmes chances de réussite. Over the past 6 years, our government has worked hard to ensure that each and every Canadian has the same opportunity for success. And that includes tackling systemic racism. It includes tackling the challenges faced by Black Canadians every single day. And this past year, we have seen millions of people around the world stand up against anti-Black racism and stand up for justice and equality. And the numbers surrounding systemic inequities for the Black community really do speak for themselves. If you look at the incarceration rates, if you look at the unemployment rates, if you look at access to affordable housing, employment, and so on, you see pattern after pattern of examples of systemic racism and discrimination that is faced by Black Canadians, quite frankly, every single day. And Marcy and I ran for office to tackle these issues and to join those who are willing to fight hard to dismantle the barriers faced by racialized Canadians, including Indigenous peoples and Black Canadians.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਿਨੋ ਦਿਨ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਜੁਰਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਵਾਰਦਾਤਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਗੋਲੀਬਾਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਨਜਿੱਠਣ ਦੀਆਂ ਰਣਨੀਤੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ। ਮੌਂਟਰੀਅਲ ਦੀ ਮੇਅਰ ਨੇ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਗਨ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਦੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਨਜਿੱਠਣ ਲਈ ਫੋਰਸ ਦੀ ਤਾਇਨਾਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ।
This is not the kind of society we want to live in. But the thing is, it cannot be seen only as a local thing or a city thing. Like ultimately, the law that is being worked on, if I could say, the proposition says that it should be cities that manages handguns on their territory. It doesn't make any sense. There could be guns just across.
We're working on different fronts. So we're conducting investigations. We're visible on the streets with uniformed personnel to reassure people and to deter any reaction or vengeance in these groups. But we're also working with the community neighborhood stations with the community organizations.
We are willing to make sure that this effort of collaboration between the Sûreté du Québec and the SPVM goes on in time. So we are announcing that we will be creating a targeted team, an integrated team, une équipe intégrée, that will be 100% concentrated on fighting against violence linked to guns and gangs.
The fact that we'll be joining forces with Sûreté du Québec will enable us to recuperate some resources and re-inject them on the fight against armed violence in the streets of Montreal.
Today, you have a united voice against gun violence.
ਰਿਪੈਂਟਨੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੀ ਗੋਲੀ ਨਾਲ ਮਰੇ ਬਲੈਕ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ 38 ਸਾਲਾ ਜਿਨ ਰੇਨੇ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਧਾਂਜਲੀ ਦੇਣ ਲਈ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਕੱਠ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਸ ਦੀ ਚਚੇਰੀ ਭੈਣ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਰਵੱਈਏ ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਨਿਰਾਸ਼ਾ ਜ਼ਾਹਿਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਰੇਨੇ ਲਈ ਇਨਸਾਫ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ।
We're mad. We're very mad. It was unfair. The fact that he shouldn't be dead right now.
J'ai appelé le 911 pour me donner de l'aide. Au lieu de m'aider,
I called 911 for them to help me, and instead of helping me, they killed my son.
This would be a wake-up call, the ultimate sad but tragic, but it's an ultimate wake-up call for people to say that enough is enough, and if we don't change, there's going to be worse things taking place here.
c'est juste la couleur qui nous diffère. Il n'y a pas d'autre chose encore.
When is it gonna stop? We don't know. Do we have to kill all our black men for them to feel that, oh, okay, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna treat them like the white ones?
Hopefully these cases will lead to mandatory court order changes to the way that the city conducts itself, to the way police services are delivered to people, and also hopefully to put a brake on, if not to stop racial profiling in this city.
I'm gonna give you a secret. Black people prefer dying than calling the cops. Okay? They prefer dying. They don't believe in cops.
When police officers act that way, they're what? They're not criminals?
To call for change to the way that black residents of Repentigny have been treated, and an end to racial profiling and racism in this city, because year after year, month after month, and week after week, we hear so many complaints.
ਲੈਬਨਾਨ ਦੀ ਰਾਜਧਾਨੀ ਬੇਰੂਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਏ ਬੰਬ ਧਮਾਕੇ ਨੂੰ 1 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੌਂਟਰੀਅਲ ਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਮ੍ਰਿਤਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਧਾਂਜਲੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਅਤੇ ਪੀੜਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹਮਦਰਦੀ ਜ਼ਾਹਿਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਪਟੜੀ ਤੇ ਆਉਣ ਦੀ ਉਡੀਕ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ।
The first reason why we're here is to be together in this moment of grief and to be there for each other. So exactly a year ago, the Lebanese government murdered more than 218 innocent people that were just living their normal lives, left more than 6,500 injured and more than 300,000 homeless. It's more than just incompetence. It's premeditated negligence in our point of view, and the Lebanese people do not want anything more than justice. They want to know the truth, why their children died and why their whole families died on August 4th, 2020.